Okay, we're going to talk about orchestrating logistics this week. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you that we're really trying to encourage you to try to complete this class. If there's anything we can do to help you, please send us an email so that we can kind of get you up to speed. Try to get your assignments in so that we can keep moving along. Orchestrating logistics. In the old days, trucking, warehousing, ships, rails, where it was all separate. They were in these silos, and they really didn't talk to each other. You'd complete this transaction, and then it would be handed off, and then the next carrier would handle it, and it would get handed off. It's pretty inefficient. The whole theory was that you would maximize utilization of the assets in each of those categories. Well, over the years, with the advent of supply chain management and logistics, we started to get into what we call pull and push logistics, which meant that you were integrating more with those different carriers, those different silos of assets. And one of the keys to that, the term we're using now is orchestrating, much like an orchestra has a trombone, has a drum. They can all play individually, but somebody has to try to get their timing of that so that it sounds appropriately, even if they're looking at the same sheet of music. And that's kind of what happens today, because you can take a lot of cost out of the supply chain by doing that, and secondly, you can increase the speed, so you can get a speed advantage plus a lower cost by orchestrating these transactions, and that's really what that concept's all about. When you look at our project, and we have a separate video on how to do the project, that's kind of what we're looking for, is how do you put that all together on a per transaction basis, so that the customer can see, in this a fixed amount of time, my cost per transaction. That would be by carton of shirts, or carton of stereos, or carton of papayas, whatever it happens to be, what that transaction cost is per item, not per vehicle. Chu, what are the questions for this week?
Where are some of the best sourcing location for handbag to be sold on the internet, and why?
That's a good one. This is a good one. So, the garment industry and the accessory business typically is manufactured with as a low, because they're high labor content products, they're usually manufactured where you have low labor costs. And what started out a decade ago with China having this big advantage on labor costs, you're now seeing that more and more of accessories and garments are moving south in Asia through Vietnam, Thailand, India, Sri Lanka, more and more, where the labor costs are a little bit lower than they are in China.
Next one
And
is,
Latin America, by the way, that's another option.
what are the growth trend for the online sale of the fashion good?
Say it again. Growth trends. Okay, so in our Monday night class, our entrepreneur class, we're working on a fashion project this semester on creating a fashion line that is in demand, that we can create some demand for, something unique. But also, we were researching how many orders of fashion goods are online versus bricks and mortar, actually, in stores. And it's pretty dramatic, the shift of the fashion industry, particularly in the younger demographic that buys most of the fashion. Right? When you get to be my age, we're wearing things that we bought 20 years ago, right? We're not quite as concerned about, many of us aren't quite as concerned about staying up to speed on the latest fashion thing, right? So that demographic is much more technically competent, much more used to ordering on their phone, really not into using, cash or checks or whatever. They just kind of buy things on their phone. You see Apple's coming out with a credit card. There's a reason for that. So, what's next?
What are the best shipping location to fulfill online order delivered in the U.S.?
Well, that's a good question. In the U.S.? Okay. So, the way that orders get fulfilled, particularly for online transactions, you kind of need to be in a location where you don't have inclement weather, because airplanes, trucks, trains have to get, primarily trucks and airplanes, have to be able to get there without delay. Secondly, you're trying to find something geographically located to large population centers, right? And so there's a lot of hubs: Columbus, Ohio, Kentucky, Memphis. FedEx is in Memphis. In Las Vegas is a hub for the airlines. Salt Lake City is a hub for the airlines. And it's all designed based on where the consumption is and where the supply is, and they build these hub and spoke systems. Okay? Okay, so once again, I encourage you, if you have any questions on this subject or any other subjects, feel free to email us so that we can help you keep moving along. We want to see everybody complete the course. See you next week.